Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game. Somehow, in all of the reviews that I have done for Star Trek Attack Wing, Xindi Weapon Zero managed to slip through the defenses of Earth. And there was no review for it. And somebody said, David, you're missing a review of Xindi Weapon Zero. Where is it? Was that intentional? I said, no, it was not. So here we are. A review of Xindi Weapon Zero. Now, I do apologize for this, since this is probably one of the most difficult pieces to find. And so this will focus more upon, is it any good to run, let's say, in a tabletop simulator environment, or to proxy? Because, yeah, trying to fly this, or to find it to buy, is very difficult. So Weapon Zero, before we get to any of the cards, is on a larger base. It's the 2x2, roughly that, rather than the small base. It's the same base as the Borg Tactical Cube, and I appreciate having a larger base. This is a nice situation to have. It's representative of, hey, large, important ship. Now, Weapon Zero. 6080. 30 points. And you go, wait, David, even under the old setup, that's 14 stats times 228. Why does it cost 30? Well, that's because it has a passive ability here. When defending, during the roll defense dice step, you may roll one defense die for each hit or crit result rolled by the attacking ship. If you do so, place an Ox Power token beside your ship. In other words, get used to never taking an action after you start taking attacks, because, you're going to have all kinds of Ox Power tokens. And this is a useful named ability, right? It's you're getting defense dice equal to the number that are coming in. How do you leverage that? Well, you bring just about anything you can for defensive conversions. Maybe a captain or admiral that lets you re-roll your defense dice. That would certainly help. Battle station tokens, that also helps. Worth noting, Weapon Zero has battle station, generic ship does not. So, was worth pointing out there. The name ship does have crew triple weapon tech. Triple weapons a touch overkill. Just going to get that out of the way. I think triple weapons overkill on every ship, but yeah. Maneuver dial here is reasonable. I like 2 turns being white, especially on a large ship. 3 turns being red, that makes decent sense. Nice array of green maneuvers. 1 reverse being on the dial even is nice. And remember, since you're a base of 2, it's kind of like everything's 1 extra speed. So really, a 2 turn's kind of like a 3 turn. A 3 turn's really a 4 turn. There's some nice maneuvers. So even going 3 straight's similar to going a 4 straight. So I don't mind a 3 straight being white and the 4 straight being red, because you can keep up with the fleet pretty easily. So Weapon Zero, definitely worth running. Generic, I would not ever run. It's 28 points, no battle stations, no named ability. That ship's just 8 attacks away from death. It's a Borg cube or Borg sphere, but without any shields, meaning you're susceptible to all kinds of gank cards, and you're going down. All your stuff's going down. All right, Captain Dolum here. Action: if your ship is not cloaked, disable all of your remaining shields. Target a ship at range 1 to 2 that's not cloaked, has no active shields. Discard 1 crew upgrade on the target ship. Your ship has a captain skill of 1 until the end phase of this round. I don't hate the ability. I don't much like it until it says your ship has a captain skill of 1 until the end phase of this round. And I get that it's to represent Dolam has left the ship to go carry out this removal of a target crew. But yeah, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my action to lose my captain skill. It means I'm going to move last or late. I'm going to move late and shoot last. That's just not it's not worth it. It's very much not worth it. Plus, I would have hoped the captain of Weapon Zero would have made Weapon Zero better. Yeah, just my my 2 cents. Now, in mission play where the NX does not have shields, where the Andorians and the Vulcans have very little shields, and the Raptor and the Romulans have very little shields, this does become usable very quickly after, say, 1 attack typically, but still, I'm not buying it. I'll buy other gank cards from the Enterprise era, but not the captain. Arming sequence. Arming sequence. 8 point. 8 point talent. 8. Yes. We have very few cards that cost more than 6. This is one of them. Action. Place a mission token on this card. During the activation phase of each subsequent round, place 1 additional mission token on this card. Max of 3. While there are mission tokens on this card, your ship cannot perform any actions and may only execute maneuvers with a speed of 1. Okay. While attacking with a destructive blast, or your primary weapon during the roll attack dice step, you may discard this card to gain a number of attack dice equal to the number of mission tokens on this card. If you do so, discard this card. Redundant text there. And you can only put this on the Xindi weapon. Okay. You can run this and you can put this on your ship pretty early, get 3 extra dice. But there's no way that 3 dice is ever worth 8 points. Plus a limitation on how fast you can move. You are stuck to 4 maneuvers. 1 bank left, 1 bank right, 1 straight, and 1 backup. It's a nice idea for a card, except it got way over convoluted, and it's just not worth it. Let's look at what Destructive Blast does. It's an attack. Discard the card. This attack targets all ships in a straight line up to range 3 from your ship. Perform 1 attack against each ship in the line. Each attack beyond the first is at a cumulative -1 attack die. For example, -1 attack die against the second ship, -2 against the third, and so on. So it starts at 5. You can make it go to 8 with an arming sequence. So then it would go 8, 7, 6. But it's another 6 points. Now, again, this can only go on a Xindi weapon. So we're at 30, 38, 44 on the Destructive Blast. That's before we put a captain on it. And we have to have a captain with a talent slot. Or an admiral. You get how this got very expensive very quickly? Destructive Blast is a cool card. Don't get me wrong. Attacking ships in a straight line? Yeah. If your opponent's foolish enough to position their ships in such a way, yeah, absolutely. And there's lots of ways you can make a straight line, right? But it just has to emanate from your ship, any part of your ship. Anyway, Destructive Blast, cool mission card. I'd actually run it in a mission play. Would still never run arming sequence. I'll find another way to boost my attack dice. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Rotating emitters. This is a 4-point card for 4 dice, and you attack disable. But you get to fire the weapon in any direction at range 1 for 4 dice, when normally you get 6 for an action to ever fire it again. It's like they were trying not to have the Xindi weapon be this super-powered ship, and I get that. I do. I do understand this. But the pendulum swung a bit too far. This card would be fine if it just existed, if it wasn't to disable, if it was just attack. Fire this weapon in any direction, 4 dice, range 1. You're paying enough of a cost with 4 points. Subspace Vortex. This card's been removed from official play because it's a jump card. We'll get into that. Action. Discard this card to remove your ship from the play area. Discard all tokens that are beside your ship except for Ox Power tokens. Immediately place your ship back anywhere in the play area, but not within range 1 to 3 of an enemy ship. You cannot attack during the game round that use this action, and this can only be purchased for a Xindi ship. Thematic, and a little less game-breaking than, say, Warp Jump, because at least you're on the play area. You have to do it as an action, and you have to come back so you can be attacked, but you don't get to attack. And you lose any other tokens. So I do like that. I like that aspect of it. This is, if we ever were to look for some of these jump cards to come back into play, this is one I would say could come back. It's expensive. It's the most limited version of a jump, and I'd be okay with it. Still, and it's unique, right? You get one ship that gets to do this. Cool in missions, but breaks a lot of missions because you get to end up somewhere you shouldn't have without having to fly there. All right, we're going to go crew. We're going to look at Dagra next. Dagra says, all of your Xindi weapon upgrades cost -1 point. When attacking during the declare target step, if your ship does not already have another ship target locked, you may discard this card to acquire a target lock on the ship within range 1 to 3 of your ship. A discard for a one-time target lock for 4 points. Now, granted, you do get Xindi weapons a little cheaper, but not much cheaper. And that's the problem is, okay, so Destructive Blast can cost 5 and Rotating Emitters costs 3. Even then, they're still too pricey. Even if we look at Xindi weapons on other ships, Dagra helps. Don't get me wrong, he helps, but there's no real Xindi weapons that you want multiples of. Now, if we ever get a Xindi faction pack, I think Dagra is somebody to watch out for a little bit, but he himself is still a bit pricey. Yeah. I do like the target lock, though. Being able to get an instant target lock, granted, does not work against Cloak, so, trade-offs. And then we have Self-Destruct. This is a unique tech. Action, target all ships within range 1 of your ship and destroy your ship. Each target suffers 1 damage and must discard a token, an evade, scan, battle station, or target lock that is beside it. This upgrade can only be purchased for a Xindi weapon. And this is where I take issue, is that you're telling me that a Xindi weapon, a big sphere, a sphere that in-game, not in attack wing life, but in-game is said to be bigger than a Borg sphere because it's on a bigger base, does 1 damage when it goes boom. Yeah, I don't buy it. Something with 8 hull, 8 durability. That much mass should cause more damage. Now, I get it's 1 guaranteed damage. There's no defense dice here. But Tasha Yar, for goodness sakes, makes I think it's 3, 4. It's a dice attack against another ship, and they don't get defense dice. I stab at thee. Defense, attack dice when your ship goes boom. Granted, crew, talent, but self-destruct? Targets all ships? Just, sadly, it's lacking. And I get it. I've kind of gone through and, well, been realistic about everything in this pack. Xindi Weapon is great. Xindi Weapon is a fantastic named ship. It still holds up today. People, Jeff, still run it today. And they have mixed results, but it's still really good. And it's fun to play. I have fun playing it. But the cards that came with it, they're not very good. They suffer from a design time in the game where a lot of good energy went into these blind boosters. The Robinson, the Dreadnought, the Denorius were good, interesting. But then we got to wave 22, the Pi, the Valiant, the Kumari. Those were interesting. Then we got to wave 23, which was probably the worst wave ever. And wave 24 was not much better. And 25 had some... 25 and 26 had some redemption. But this came out at a time where the design was not amazing. And I think it shows. I don't know what went on behind the scenes here. But I'm going to put forth an idea that the design team did not know what to do with Xindi. And so they made them expensive so that they didn't quite have to figure it out. Yeah, Weapon Zero, cool ship ability. Very unique. Something we don't see. And something I like, and I would love to see more out-of-the-box abilities like this. They're fun. To me, they're quite fun. I'd still like to see a reduction in cost on the Xindi Weapon. I don't know. What do we go with? Yeah, 29. It's a small discount, but not much. But yeah. Anyway. If you want to play stuff from this pack, feel free. It's on Tabletop Simulator. The model looks quite good, but please don't spend $200, $300 chasing this pack down. I get it. Completionist mentality is a tough syndrome to break. I have it. I understand. I know the pain. The new Weapon Zero is cool. The rest of the pack sucks. And I'll leave you on that note. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.